Ann Novak, a career coach at the Career Center at the East Baton Rouge Parish Library. And today I want to talk to you about how to succeed in a new job. So congratulations, you made it through all the rounds of interviewing and you scored that new job. Let's make sure you start off on the right foot. And let me tell you how you can best do that. Let's start before you even start your new job. Wait, I'm not even working there yet. That's right. There's things you can do to ensure that you're off to a good start, even before you really start. So, you want to research your new organization again. Again? You already did that for the interview. That's right. That's probably why you got the job. But now, it probably has been a while since you interviewed, and you really want to be up to date on the latest development on your new organization. Maybe there has been a big acquisition. Maybe a big project has made the news. Maybe there were organizational changes. You need to know all of this before you actually start at this company. So check Google, check Glassdoor for the latest reviews, just so that you're in the know and that you know what you're walking into on your first day. You also want to research your coworkers. And no, I don't mean spy on them, but go to LinkedIn, check them out, and establish if you have anything in common. Maybe you went to the same university. Maybe years ago you worked at the same company. These things establish commonalities, and it's much easier to meet people and to talk to new people if you have things in common. Also, talk to your new supervisor and ask what you can do to prepare before you start. Before I start? Yes, before you start. Because what if, let's say, your department has a big deadline coming up, maybe a week or two after you're scheduled to start, or they have an important project. Wouldn't it be nice if you could hit the ground running right when you start, if you were prepared? So give that supervisor a call, ask them, and maybe he is happy to tell you to really read up on ABC so that you can come in and really help out with that project. If I was that supervisor, I would be pretty impressed by you right now, and that would be a good start. Now let's talk about, you've started, let's talk about those first days and that first week. It is important to have that beginner's mind. What is a beginner's mind? Well, be humble, be nice, smile often. That is the easiest level here. Even you might be an established expert in your field. That's wonderful. That's probably what got you hired. But don't just come into this new company and walk all over people and say, I am the expert and I know what to do here. And we used to do it this way in my old place and it worked. So let's change everything. Maybe you will end up changing everything, but that is not how you want to start your first days. Be open and eager. Be open to how they do things at this new organization. Be eager to learn. Talk to everybody. Learn the ways of this organization. Maybe it really was better at your old place, but you can tell them that in time. For right now, you want to know how they do things. Maybe you will adapt some of them. Maybe you will mingle things up, and that will be the right way forward. For right now, you're just there to take things in. Observe and mirror your coworkers. That really goes with the last thing. You want to see how things are going. You want to see how they communicate, how they talk to each other, and all these cultural things that go on behind the scene. And last but not least, take notes. It can be really overwhelming to walk into a new organization where you don't know anybody, where you don't know the procedures. Isn't it much better to take notes than asking the same question 5 times? Do you want to be that person where they say, oh, it's her again. She asked me that question every day for the last week. I hope it's something different today. Take notes. Don't be that person. So you have survived your first days. Now let's talk about within the first week or two, you really want to establish communication and expectations. Meet with your supervisor and or team, depending on your role, and discuss responsibilities. Yes, you probably did that during the interview, but now you're actually there. You want to know what is expected of you. Establish priorities and upcoming deadlines. You don't want to be caught in a situation where you really dedicate your time to project A, and after 2 weeks, you proudly present project A to your supervisor, and your supervisor looks at you and says, "That's wonderful, but I really needed you to concentrate on project B." Whoops. That could have been avoided if early on the two of you had sat down and established what are the priorities, what are the deadlines, what are the steps, and the overall responsibilities. Communication is key. Establish all the right steps right at the beginning. You want to gauge the preferred communication style. Some organizations are very structured. Some projects run in a very structured way where you have regular milestone meetings with the entire team, where the project is discussed and the progress. Some other projects or organizations are more on a, well, let's make it up as we go, ongoing feedback and so on. You need to know what the style is. You also want to let them know what your preferred style is. If you like ongoing feedback, but they have established feedback cycles of maybe every 4 months, that might be very frustrating to you to have to wait this long for your feedback. You want to discuss expectations and set objectives. Know what you will be measured on, what your performance will be measured on at the end of the year. And very important, establish metrics. Know what you really need to achieve in order to fulfill your objectives. Don't wait until year end and your performance review when your supervisor then tells you, "Sorry, you really did not fulfill what I expected of you," when you could have easily have prevented that by good communication and expectation setting in the first place. Now we are well into our first weeks and months. You want to network, network, network. If you have watched several of our videos, you will hear this over and over again. Why? Because networking is just so important in your job search and in your career as well. Go to lunch with people. Lunch is a way to meet people at a different level than during a project. It's more personable. You will probably talk about other things than just work. Get to know people around the water cooler, or if you don't have a water cooler, in the kitchen, the ping pong table, whatever it is in your organization, whatever that place is where people mingle and meet to do small talk. To talk about the last football game, the last play they saw, whatever it is. It's that personal level that you want to establish with your colleagues. You probably don't just want to be known as the person that comes at 8 a.m., enters his cubicle, goes to lunch by himself, leaves at 5, maybe does a great job, but where other people said, "Oh, yeah, he does a great job, but, you know, we never talked to him. We know nothing about him." Don't be that person. Meet as many people as possible outside of your department and learn what they're doing. The more people you know, the more you know about your organization. And at the same time, the more people know about you and the good work you do, the better for you. The better networked you are, that will really be to your advantage. Ideally, you could seek out mentors or advisors at work or outside work as well. That is difficult to do. Don't, in the first few weeks or months, just go up to somebody and say, "Hey, could you be my mentor?" That is awkward. That is not the way it works. So this will likely take some time. You will need to know the people in this organization some better. And then if you feel there's some good chemistry with a person, then approach them. Mentors are invaluable at work. If it's at all possible, you do want to go and seek one out. Very important, the last point, show energy and that can-do attitude, even if this is not your ideal job or if this is just a bridge job. We have tough economic times right now, and many people will probably have to take some bridge jobs. Still, you need to show that can-do attitude and that energy, because you never know what a bridge job can develop into. Maybe something else opens up at this organization and you can move up. And even if not, you will eventually move on. Don't you want a good reference from this job? So regardless of what situation this is, always show that can-do attitude. Now let's talk about some specific situations. For example, you have been out of work for a long time. Maybe you've stayed home with kids for the last 15 years. Maybe you've taken care of ailing relatives for the last 5 years. In any way, it has been a long time since you have been in a work environment, and especially since you have started a new job. So obviously there are some special issues you want to anticipate and that you want to think about before. It's this whole getting back into a rhythm, getting back out of the house regularly to go to the office, especially if you took care of ailing relatives. That can be a very lonely situation. To be aware of that, you will be in a community again with other people. So think about all that before you start. Another special situation, if you have been with the same employer for a long time, let's say 15 to 20 years, and all of a sudden you have to change employers. Most people, what happens, we are so entrenched in the procedures, in the lingo of that job, that we probably even talk a certain way. You have to be very, very careful to not fall into that trap. You don't want to be in a new organization and say we, still talking about your other company, or using acronyms or other words that really were particular to that other company. You have to make a special effort to now think as we with the new company and to learn the new lingo, new acronyms, and so on. This can be a really tricky situation. Also, if you're pursuing a career change, or if you are changing industries, those really have the same issues attached to them. So maybe you were a real expert, a recognized expert before, and now you change careers. And that expertise maybe is completely irrelevant now, so you might not be seen as that expert anymore. You might be more seen as the beginner. So pay attention to that. People might see you differently, approach you differently. The same when you change industries. Maybe you knew all about automotive. Maybe you were the greatest supply chain person in the automotive industry, but now you switch to healthcare. Well, a supply chain is still a supply chain, but still it will be somewhat different in healthcare. So be aware that you might take a step back. If you have moved for the job, a whole other can of worms. So you have moved locations for the job, maybe far away from your last location, and the issues you encounter are manifold, potentially. Maybe you aren't established yet. Maybe you still live in temporary housing. So when you come home in the evening, it's just not yours. It might not have the same recharge potential that your own house has. Maybe your family is still somewhere else. So your comfort cycle, your social circle is not there to support you when you come home. You don't know the new environment yet. You don't have the social circle yet. Just be aware that that might cause additional stress to the new job. Obviously, this is not insurmountable. People do it every day, but it's just something to think about. Last but not least, you will feel overwhelmed. You will doubt your change of jobs, and you will make mistakes, and that's fine. That is normal. We all do it. It happens to everybody. You will learn from your mistakes. Get up and keep going. You can succeed. Good luck. If you enjoyed this video and would like to know more about what we do or contact us, please go to our website at www.careercenterbr.com. We are located at the main library on Goodwood, where you can meet us in person.